Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Writing Center workshop. My name is Krista, and today we're going to be tackling how to write counterarguments in a persuasive essay. So, first, let's talk a little bit about what is a counterargument. So, in an argument of paper, there is often a need to address the opposition in order to show that you understand different opinions surrounding your topic. A counterargument discusses opposing views briefly, then adds additional evidence to support the author's main claim. So, in this case, your main claim. Counterarguments can help writers to consider concerns from the opposing side, to show a comprehensive understanding of an issue, and even to broaden their own perspective on a topic. Counterarguments have two main parts, the counterclaim and the rebuttal, which we will get to in detail in the coming slides. So, how do you choose an effective counterargument? First, consider possible arguments against your thesis or claim. This can occur during brainstorming or using pro con lists. If it's a really hotly debated issue, sometimes you can research both sides and get a really good understanding of what proponents and opponents of your idea say. Try to think about possible objections your audience might have to your main claim. So, for example, if we took an example prompt, what animal makes the best household pet, cats or dogs? One possible thesis could be that cats make better household pets because they are independent, intelligent, and require minimal care. And even though we could all be on opposite ends of this opinion and of this thesis, we could kind of participate in a brainstorming activity. So one question I might ask myself if I were writing this paper would be, why do some people prefer dogs over cats as pets? Another question might be, what challenges might cat owners have? So these are opinions that go against your main claim, but might help you to think about how to strengthen your own and might help you to build a rebuttal. So the next step, once you've chosen kind of an effective counterargument topic, is to consider a few criteria when writing your rebuttal. So first, use the main points from the opposition, and second, respect the opposing side. We'll get into more about what these ideas kind of mean and how they look when we're writing our counterargument paragraph. So first, avoid attacking the straw man. A straw man argument is an exaggerated or misrepresented claim of the opposition. It's not generally a good counter argument because it's not worth creating a rebuttal for. It's either a really weak claim of the opposition or it's not something that truly represents the opposing side's views. So, for example, we have a potential counter argument here. People who prefer dogs as pets hate cats. Now, in this instance, we know this is an exaggeration. It is a possible counter argument, but most dog owners probably don't hate cats. There's probably a deeper reason for this. So this is a pretty weak counter argument. Instead, we could use a possible counter argument like some people argue that dogs make better household pets than cats because they do not have to use a litter box. Not only is this true, it also gives room for the writer to explain their rebuttal, to say something that supports their main claim. Even though cats have to use litter boxes, it's more convenient for the owner or something along those lines. So thinking about a counter argument that uses key points from your opposition is more valuable and more effective to your reader. Second, we have to respect the opposing side. It's important to keep in mind that our audiences are going to come from different backgrounds and different opinions, and for that reason, they can oppose or agree with your side of a prompt. So it's important to respect the opposing side. When you're writing a rebuttal, avoid really harsh language. Try to keep it neutral but strong in your own beliefs. So consider the possible stance of your entire audience. In example 3, we have a potential counter argument or rebuttal that is not effective because it doesn't respect the opposing side. So it says, it's so dumb to think that dogs are better than cats just because they can be more affectionate. This is essentially calling half of your audience dumb, which is not what you want to do in persuasive essay. You want to take everyone in the audience and try to get them to respect your opinion and maybe to come back to your side and believe that cats are the best household pet. So in example 4, we maybe have a better use of this argument. So while many people agree that dogs are more affectionate, cats are also known to enjoy pets, cuddles, and playing. So example 4 is more respectful and more informative, and it also gives you the opportunity to include your own research or sources in your rebuttal. Now that you have those two ideas in mind, you can think about how to organize a counterargument paragraph. So like we discussed before, there's kind of two parts to this. The first is to pose the opposing side's views, and the second is to rebuttal or show how your claim is the best one. So in your counterclaim, you're going to introduce the opposing side's views or concerns from your audience, myths about your topic, or maybe even a qualification to your argument. So some helpful sentence starters to kind of get you writing or to get you thinking about this. Some people believe blank. One might assume that blank. While some argue the opposite of your claim, what do you argue? And then you can move into your rebuttal. So now that you've selected a counter argument, you can really emphasize your main claim or emphasize a claim within your main claim. So the rebuttal is a set of ideas or claims that can emphasize your thesis. The rebuttal should be the main purpose of the counter argument paragraph because you want your readers to understand your argument. If you spend too much time focusing on the opposing side, it can get a little confusing. So let's look at a couple of examples of how this might work out in our example prompt. So remember our thesis, cats make better household pets because they're independent, intelligent, and require minimal care. In example 5, we have a counter argument followed by a rebuttal. This would be maybe like a topic sentence. While many people agree that dogs are more affectionate, cats are also known to enjoy pets, cuddles, and playing. So here, right, there's room again for your rebuttal. You'd spend most of your paragraph talking about how cats show affection or why cats are still affectionate pets. In some cases, you can even concede the opponent's potential argument while still emphasizing your own. Although dogs may be the best pets for active individuals, cats are better for people who work from home. So you're not necessarily saying the opposing side is wrong here. Dogs may be the best pets for active individuals, but cats may still be better household pets for the average person, for someone working from home, or for someone with a less active lifestyle. So here we have 2 examples of how counterarguments and rebuttals can kind of work within one sentence, and you can spend the rest of your paragraph focusing on that rebuttal. So now that you have your counterargument paragraph written, or at least an idea of what you want to talk about, you can start thinking about where you include a counterargument paragraph within your whole essay. In all honesty, these can occur anywhere. As a writer, I prefer to include them as the first body paragraph or the last body paragraph because I think it flows the most naturally. But you want to think about how you can make your counterargument strengthen your main claim with its organization. So here are a couple of questions just to get you thinking about where might work best for you. So you might think about what is one common misconception about your topic, or what might most people think about this topic that you want to disprove. That might be a good spot to include in your first body paragraph. You could also think about what idea from the opposition is your counter argument arguing against. And that might be somewhere kind of in the middle of your essay. Or my personal favorite, what is something that someone might oppose about your claim that you haven't mentioned so far? And that slides really nicely in the last body paragraph of your paper. This, of course, is thinking about your traditional 5-paragraph structure, but it could really be any length of paper. You can kind of choose where it flows the best. So counterarguments are helpful tools in persuasive essays to help anticipate arguments of the opposition and respond to them in a rebuttal. Keep in mind what we discussed, counterarguments can occur in any paragraph so long as they use strong points from the conflicting arguments. So always avoid that straw man argument, pick a stronger point. Second, respect the opposition, and finally, emphasize the rebuttal. The main purpose of this paragraph is to strengthen your own main claim, so focus on your rebuttal and what you want to say in this paragraph. As always, feel free to make an appointment with any Writing Center tutor if you have questions about your specific prompt or just want to review counterarguments in general. And happy writing.